Hi, welcome back to Sideninehomestead. I'm Jody, and today I am hankering for some nachos or tacos or something like that, and that can be a bit of a challenge with the carnivore diet. So today I'm going to show you how we made these carnivore nachos. 100% carnivore. Stick around and I'll show you how we made them. Alright, the first step to making carnivore nachos is to cook our beef. So you can use chicken if you want, but I'm going to use beef, and I'm actually going to try some Wagyu beef. I got this at Costco. It comes in a 3-pack, 3 pounds. And I'm just going to put it down low. Okay, next I'm going to get my beef in there so I can start that cooking. We'll see if this Wagyu cooks any differently than regular ground beef, and this may not be the best test for it because we'll have a lot of flavor with the seasonings that we'll use, but it's worth a shot. So the beef is cooking up pretty nice here, but you can see there is a lot of fat that's coming off. Now usually we buy the grass-fed organic beef from Costco, which I believe is an 85-15 split, and this seems fattier than that. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just an observation that it's coming out sooner versus the other. So we'll see how it turns out. Okay, I'm ready to add the seasoning. The beef's all cooked. So today I'm going to be using Meat Church's fajita blend. I know I've talked about seasoning blends on here before and how most of them have sugar in it. This one does not. And I know a lot of people just want to use salt if you're really hardcore carnivore, and that's fine. You can do whatever suits for you, but we found that seasonings are something that hasn't affected us, so we're going to use some. So I don't have exact measurements. I'm just going to kind of add it and then taste as I go. Okay. Add this in, and now usually when in our pre-carnivore life, when I would make tacos or nachos or anything like that, I would drain it, get rid of the fat, do all those things. Of course now I want the fat because that's really good for you. We want that animal fat, especially the Wagyu. So I'm going to let that just kind of simmer in there. Now I may find that it may kind of evaporate, so to speak. So it may get a little bit dry. So I do have some water if that happens to kind of make it a little bit more moist. Okay, the next step is I'm going to make the cheese sauce. So today I'm going to use Colby Jack, and this is an extra sharp white cheddar. So what I'm going to do is shred these so that they're all freshly shredded, and then I'll show you how to make the cheese sauce. Alright, I'm going to start making the cheese sauce. So the first thing you need is 1 stick of butter. So I'm going to put that in my pan first, and then I will light my burner. Whoa. Stand back, cameraman. Sorry, it's the opposite direction as the other one. Alright, so now we just want to have the butter melt, and then I will show you the next step. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is sodium citrate. So this is a salt that is derived from citrus fruit. Some of you may or may not be comfortable with that. I think it's perfectly fine. It is sugar-free, of course, keto-friendly. That's the only ingredient is the sodium citrate. So I have 4 teaspoons here, so I'm going to add that into the butter.
What's the purpose of that?
It's going to help emulsify the sauce so that your milk solids and the oils don't split in your sauce.
So it makes it nice and creamy?
Yes. Alright, next up is 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream. I'm just going to add that in, whisking it up. Alright, so I have my 8 ounces of Colby Jack and my 8 ounces of sharp cheddar, so I'm just going to start slowly adding that in and mixing that together. It may at some point get a little lumpy towards the end. If that's okay, just keep whisking it. It'll eventually smooth out for you. You can see how it's becoming really smooth, like a traditional cheese sauce that you would have with nachos. You can use any kind of cheese that you want with this. Pepper jack would be good. I didn't get that because I know peppers are on the naughty list, so I didn't want to do that, but there's so minimal in there, it probably would be okay for most people. You can also see that the sodium citrate has also made it really creamy. There's no way this sauce is going to separate, you know, into the oils and the milk solids and all of that to make a really kind of greasy sauce. This is going to stay a nice creamy sauce. Alright, so here are going to be our carnivore chips. Most of you are familiar with pork rinds, so these are just a plain flavor. So I'm going to put these out on my little tray. Now, some of them are kind of big. I might try to break up some of them, just so that it's a little easier to eat. Just trying to break some of these up so they'll be a little bit easier. Pork rinds sometimes can be a little messy when you go to bite them, and I want to be able to scoop the toppings onto the chips. Alright, and now it's time to assemble the nachos. So one of my biggest pet peeves when you order nachos anywhere is that they give you this tiny little plate and they mound it up like a foot off the plate with stuff, and then all your chips are at the bottom. So I'm using a small tray to keep things flat, so that way then each of the chips have a chance to get some of the toppings on it. Alright, next up is our cheese sauce. I'm just going to drizzle this over the top. This will keep in the fridge for like a week or maybe 10 days. It will solidify though, so you'll kind of have to scoop it out with a spoon and reheat it over the stove.
Oh, the cheese, you mean?
Yeah. Because this makes a lot, so most likely you'll have leftovers. I like a lot of cheese, so I'm going to get a flag for piling on. Alright, and then the last thing we're going to do is put some sour cream on. Again, I know a lot of people don't do dairy. The only ingredient is cultured cream in this sour cream, so I feel comfortable doing that. We don't eat a whole lot of dairy, although this meal obviously is very heavy on the dairy with the cheese and the sour cream, but every once in a while I think that's okay. This would be a lot easier than trying to scoop it out with a spoon. So let's see here. Okay, so that's it. That's your carnivore nachos. So let's give it a try. Which one should I pick? I almost need a fork. How about that? So you can see a good amount of the Wagyu with our meat church seasoning, the cheese sauce, and some sour cream. Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Kind of didn't know whether this was going to turn out the way I wanted it to. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. This kills that craving for that whole taco nacho feeling that, you know, maybe we were used to having before we became carnivores. We used to love to have nachos and love to have tacos, fajitas, that type of thing. This is a great substitute. I know sometimes people are put off by pork rinds because they do have kind of a different flavor to them. You don't taste it at all in this because you have the flavor of the meat, which is so flavorful, as well as the cheese sauce and the sour cream. These are excellent.